Hey guys, this is kind of a random one, but I just finished recording some of the other commander sets for New Capenna, but we do have a Stalwart Unity. It's the older 2016, I think it is, which is definitely a while from now. What, 6 years it feels like? Probably has actually been 6 years, but back when they printed one commander set per day. Wait, no, per year. Um, but I figured I'd open it, see how you guys, like these older ones. I did buy it for a little bit, but to be honest, like looking at the prices of the cards, this one was worth it. I already have pretty much all the other ones except for the fighting one, all the one with everything but blue. Only reason why I didn't have that is because I got Saskia from the Secret Lair and I didn't need it. And the Brea and the Atraxa stuff, I still have things I use from it. You get an oversized card, always nice. Just gonna put that back in the box. I usually like to display these. I have way too many commander decks to start displaying nowadays. I think I got the Atraxa one, not in one of these, but in the what is it called? Well, this plastic just fell out. Oops. But I don't even know. So I mean, we can have a look down memory lane. Look at all these, how Commander used to be. What cards were considered playable or not. Of course, Commander was also a lot less competitive as it is nowadays. Everything's not so easy to just be like, ramp into my 7-drop and I'm winning on turn 5 kind of thing. Winning on turn 5 used to be just CDH. Now it's like anyone can do it. But this is more of a group hug deck, so you wouldn't really be playing this in a competitive kind of game. I mean, if you can play this competitively, you might just be the best there ever was. This is like the most fair card ever. So at the beginning of each player's, beginning of your end step, each player may put a land from their hand on the battlefield, then each opponent who didn't draws a card. And then there's the partners, which I also got them for that because I'm making a commander cube, so these all work for it pretty well. When you cast your second spell each turn, or when an opponent casts their second spell each turn, you draw a card, and it has flying and haste. At the beginning of each player's end step, that player may draw if a player other than you lost life this turn. When creatures your opponents control with flying 2 or without flying or reach can't block creatures with power 2 or less. So pretty decent. The partners are always fun. And then some of the older tokens, so they're not full art, but they still do look nice. It's kind of like nostalgic looking, I guess, now that everything's like said and done, Some squids, some spirits. So weird to see this from like that long ago. Veteran Explorer, just being able to die and then each player searches for some lands is pretty decent. Humble Defector, I always like this card. Same with Orzhov Advocist. Chimera, draw a card, you gain a life. Soul Ring, Commander Sphere. This was before Arcane Signet, so you will not see an Arcane Signet. Crypt creature gets +2/+2 and has haste and can't attack you or a planeswalker you control and can't be sacrificed. Beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player may gain control of a equipped creature until end of turn if you do untap it. At the beginning of combat on your turn, or at the beginning of your upkeep, put 3 counters on target creature you control and 3 counters on a creature an opponent controls. So this is pretty good if you want to like help your opponent out a little bit more. Ghostly Prison, pretty decent. Same with Propaganda. Like both these cards are just worth it, especially Sphere of Safety. Like those 3 cards are pretty worth it, especially for these partners as well. Like that's the main reason why I bought this, and I wanted something to show on my shelf. Swords of the Plowshares, Arcane Denial is another good card. Beast Within, Sylvan Reclamation. This card's alright. They had one for each of the color combinations. Cultivate, Kodama's, Migratory Route. This card actually kind of just sucks, I'll be honest. Train, Treacherous Terrain. I liked it I had like a all but white commander, and it had Vile Smasher, and playing this was pretty nice because you could just deal 8 damage to a random opponent and then deal damage equal to the number of lands they control. Some lands, they have some of the nice ones like the Rebecca Gay lands. I mean, all these look really nice, especially these. This one's pretty good. Preventing all damage and putting that many counters on it. It's a card I think should see a little bit more play than it does. Enters the battlefield tapped. Add colors where X number of basic land types among lands you control. Land types. So you can actually do this if you don't. But it's 5 mana for that. I don't know. Untap all creatures. Until end of turn, whenever a creature an opponent controls blocks, draw a card. Draw a card. So it's a pretty decent 2 mana draw card on your own, but then you can actually help your opponent out. Target player sacrifices an attacking creature. You create X, where X is that creature's toughness. Return up to 2 cards from your graveyard to your hand. Exile it. This spell costs 1 less for each opponent, so it's 4 mana, really. Zedru the Greathearted, really great in this deck because a lot of your stuff helps each player anyways. Progenitor Mimic, another reason why I bought this card. It's pretty decent. Not that costly, but it's a little costly. Hushwing Griffin. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Very good. Chasm Skulker, Edric, Spymaster of Trust. Definitely a card I want to make a commander deck around. Putting bribery counters on them. And you can let them draw a card. This was in the other deck I opened not that long ago. Very group huggy. I mean, that's what this deck does. A Crow and Warhorse. You can make opponents make creatures, which this is better in Zedru as the commander than this. Windborn Muse, so you have all 4 of the 2 more to attack you at least. Psychosis Crawler to actually kill your opponents eventually. Kazul to make it so your opponents don't want to attack you as much. Realm Seekers, and then you can remove counters from it. Blah blah blah. That one's not as good. Flying and creatures can't attack you. So this card's pretty decent, I would say. But it is 9 mana, but if it stays, it's pretty decent. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand. Howling Mine, I like that. Temple Bell. Venser's Journal to start gaining life. Well, it might be Commander's a little too fast for this to be that great. Target player puts the top X cards of their library into the graveyard, where X is the number of creatures, number of cards in that player's graveyard. That's weird. This is like a double mill, I guess. Oath of the Druids. I don't remember this one. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player chooses a player who controls more creatures than he or she does and is their opponent. The first player may reveal the card from their library until they reveal a creature card. If they do, that player puts that card onto the battlefield and all other cards in their graveyard. Okay. Playing a lot of lands is pretty decent. Oh yeah, Lurking Predator is also pretty fun because you want your opponents casting a lot of spells, and then whenever they cast a spell, you just keep getting creatures if you can. Swan Song, I love this card as well. Oblation, it's decent. Untap all creatures you control, and you and that opponent, you can, those creatures gain haste. It's alright. Mind, I mean, these are both, what, I think, as they're only, okay, the Joining Forces ones, they're pretty fun, but I've noticed most players don't just put anything into it. I think they should have to pay at least 1 to get something back into it, you know? Whenever you draw a card, you may put a hoof print counter on it, and then remove counters. That one's alright. Template Discovery is great. Searching for any land, amazing, and then if your opponents do the tempt, you just search for everything else you need. Each creature damages itself equal to its power. Redistribute any number of players' life totals. This is a really bad card, but it's funny. Damaging every creature for 13. For 1 mana is usually pretty good. And then Forbidden Orchard. I think this card actually might be a bid as well. Tapping for any mana and giving someone a creature. Gain control of each creature you control. So it's pretty decent against, honestly, my kind of decks, which like to steal stuff. Just lands. I mean, there's a lot of the tri lands you're gonna get. You're also gonna get these, the ones where you have to pay 1 mana, otherwise you sacrifice it. Opal Palace, it's decent, but it's not. It's better back then when there wasn't as much crazy mana you can just find. Croson Verge is also a really good card to get. Um, this is a really good deck. I just like it. It's just fun. This is more of like a deck I would play like if I was doing like more casual games. I just feel like you cannot be group huggy these days and actually expect to like do anything other than just lose. But I hope you guys enjoyed. The commander deck's pretty cool. It's just been a while. I'm mostly gonna like I'm just opening it because I can, and then I was gonna rip it apart for cards and stuff like that because I can. And I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys on the next one. So have a good one. Bye.